Welcome back, everyone. Friday Talk here. This is my epoch. Okay, so I am going to be talking about the Second Amendment and the possibility of it being repealed, or just, we don't know exactly how it's going to be done, but I tried giving this warning probably about 6-8 months ago on this channel because of some stuff that I'd read from Billy Meyer, where he was making a comment about rednecks and their guns and their refusal to give them up. And it was like, oh, okay, being an American, I understand, our society and our laws a lot better than, somebody who is a foreigner, because he's a one-armed Swiss man that lives out in the middle of nowhere. And he's got a very interesting story if you ever want to look into it. I strongly suggest it if you're interested in things like this. But I tried putting out a video about this, quite a few months ago, and this is something that he's been warning about, because one of the things that he's told us is that there will be back-to-back American Civil Wars, and once the first one ends, the consequences from that will ignite the second Civil War, and that will be what destroys this country, and we will split up into 5 separate countries. Now, I mean, you kind of have to wait till after the fact to see if he's right or wrong, but if you're a smart or wise person, you're going to at least have a contingency plan for something like this to happen. And then I just recently watched a video from James O'Keefe, because he has a new channel. It's called O'Keefe Media, and apparently it's on Netflix. I did not know that. And he was going undercover with a DOD official who he does something with Congress to help them, coordinate with the DOD in their public responses. And that guy has the ability to really to influence things in certain ways. Now, the politicians, they have their own ideology, but they are also governed by lobbyists and their pocketbook. And so if they want to keep their wealth, their status, and their power, they're going to have to keep their mouth shut and just do as they're told. I mean, every one of our politicians, well, not everyone, but I would say 99.9% of them are bought off in some way, form, or fashion. And if you don't acknowledge that, well, that's on you. But there are various ways it's done, and there's even people who will say that you cannot get into politics unless you are compromised. And there are also individuals who come out and talked about how this is the policy, and this is essentially how the CIA has done a coup on our government, and with the help of J. Edgar Hoover, who blackmailed Kennedy into taking LBJ as his vice president. And you got to go do your own research in history, but let's stay on topic here. So this guy, the O'Keefe is with, he's undercover and stuff like that, is talking about how they want to repeal the guns, how the borders, there's nothing wrong at the borders, there's no terrorists that are getting across at the borders, all this stuff that we hear from a lot of our talking heads that are on the other side of the issue, kind of keep wanting to tell us, oh, there's nothing to see here. Well, between that and then Pinball Preparedness also did a video today talking about red flag laws and how that is part of this $1.2 trillion spending bill that just got passed. And there's a lot of things that were put in there, a lot of pork projects like always that were put in it. And this is something that says, okay, well, apparently what Billy Meyer was saying is correct, or at least there's a possibility of it being correct. So this is something that's more than you should just heed the warning, and as a contingency to, this might actually become a reality. And this is something that those of you that believe in the Second Amendment, and all those things, should truly be concerned about. Because I had a conversation with my old man, because I wanted to get, because he's a retired Army, strong Second Amendment advocate. My whole family is on both sides. They understood the reason for the Second Amendment, and so therefore that is one of their more cherished more cherished amendments out of all of the different amendments that are out there. And it should be, because it is a way for us to protect from our government. At least that was the intent. Well, I'm having a conversation with my old man, and telling him these things and just getting his opinion, what he thinks about it. And he's like, well, you know what, you might have to be burying your father sooner than you think, because I'm not going to live to be 100 if they try and do something like that. And it brings into full circle exactly what Billy Meyer was saying, is that and even what I was saying during the during the live stream, is the possibility that because of the way that the voting is slanted, because the big cities are controlling the rural areas in a lot of these states, that that through whatever mechanism, the big cities will vote to either repeal or amend the Second Amendment, or just institute laws that prevent it. And how many years is it going to take to get to the Supreme Court? And by then, precedent's already been set, the government's already been in motion, and a lot of things, because some things need to move fast through the court system, and some things can take their time. But the way that our system was set up originally was that things were to be slow so that you could have time to cool off and things like that. But with the speed at which the modern society moves, is that you could implement a law, just like things that Biden has done, or executive orders, and it could take months, years, or even longer for the Supreme Court to come out and issue a decision. I mean, look at what happened with the Affordable Care Act, or whatever people call it, Obamacare. I remember at one point people would yell and scream at me if I called it Obamacare. Now everybody calls it Obamacare. But how long did it take before we were actually able to get a decision to repeal, like, the individual mandate and things like that, because it was deemed unconstitutional? And how many different times did the states have to reform their argument to get it through to the Supreme Court to make some sort of change to what was going on there? And so if for some reason, whether it be Biden through an executive order because the DOD says that this is what we need to do because we are afraid of our own citizens, which the government is supposed to be afraid of its own citizens. I mean, that's what's supposed to keep them in check. That is the foundation of our system in the beginning. Now it's completely different, but we can talk about that another day. Okay, how long until it makes it to the Supreme Court? How long until, and how quickly is the government going to act to be able to start confiscating people's guns? And who is going to be the ones that are going to be rebelling? And, how many lives will be lost in this process because of people's refusal to give up their guns? Okay, and this is something that you as an individual, if you are paying attention to what's going on and want to be able to be safe during this whole crazy crap that we've got going on in our country and in the time that we're in, this is something that you're really going to have to sit back and consider and ask, which hill are you willing to stand on? And is this hill, are you willing to fight to the bitter end? Okay, because one of the things that Billy Meyer explains about these two civil wars is that the first one, the rebels will lose. So let's just say that they come in there and they do something with the Second Amendment. All those people that are going to be fighting back will lose. Okay, but afterwards, what is going to be the spark? How heinous is the government going to be if they towards these individuals that refuse to give up their Second Amendment right, because that is one of the things that they cherish about this country. Okay, and then that again will end up sparking the Second Civil War, which will destroy this country. So by repealing the Second Amendment or overturning it or issuing an executive order, could that actually be the beginning of the end, the official final nail on the coffin for this country? And this is something that, I would strongly recommend that you sit back and you really consider, where do you stand? How far are you willing to go? And what is it that you're willing to do? Because if Meyer is correct, you're going to lose. Okay, this is a battle you're not going to win if they decide to go this route, and this is what sparks our first civil war. Now, this is speculation and opinion based upon things that I've read and things that I've come across and current events, but it still makes me want to sit back here and really ponder this question. And for me, as somebody who doesn't have a gun, it's something that is not going to directly affect me, but I know quite a few of you that actually watch this channel have them, and you are very proud of them, and you are very protective of them. And so, you're going to have people. Are you willing to lose your whole family over this, and have them, have a possible mass genocide? And what is it that you're willing to accept, and what is it that you're not? Okay, so this is just some things that I wanted to bring to your attention, because I think that if you're ahead of the curve, when it does happen, you're prepared, you've already made your decisions, you already know where you're gonna be. Okay, and if that be the case, at least you have the solace knowing what's going to happen. But also, what about the aftermath? How many warlords are going to be created from this? How long will this last? And in the aftermath, you're going to have the United Nations come in, which means we're going to have Chinese and Russian troops within our own country, and trying to keep peace between us because of the mass fighting that we have. And are you willing to burn it to the ground for this, or is it something that you value your country enough that you're willing to find another way to fight back? Okay, because Glenn Beck is 100% correct in my opinion that the second we decide to fight is going to be the day that it is the end of this country. And do you love your country enough to make the sacrifice and not fight, and fight another, do another day with another way? Or is this one where you're just like, what, if they're going to do this, it might as well be the end? Okay, so these are some questions that you need to sit back and ask yourself and have this conversation. This is not to instill fear or anger or anything else like that, because that's not what I'm trying to do. We need to keep the peace, and there are other ways to fight. Now, it may be long and drawn out, but there are other ways to fight. There is another way to do this. Now, we won't know until the moment comes what that avenue is, but it might be time to start exploring those options now and be prepared for it than it is to sit there and wait for it to happen and then go, okay, now what do we do? Okay, because when you're reactionary, it's just like being emotional. Your decisions are knee-jerk reactions that are not well thought out, that are not well planned out. Okay, so anyways, guys, thank you for watching. You know how to help the channel. Become a subscriber. You want to leave me a tip in the tip jar, it's down in the description. Come on over to Patreon. Everything else, again, it's down in the description. Don't forget to share this video, and thank you for watching again. See you in the next one.